Hi everybody, I am Cherise Stewart of Stewart HR and the HR GOAT, and today we're going to talk about the truth about performance reviews. The truth is you don't have to have that feeling of dread going into them if you plan ahead and have a strategy to ensure that you're having a great review or appraisal process and you're advocating for yourself. So, annual performance reviews. Reviews can take different shapes or formats, but most often you'll either have a traditional review where the manager is reviewing you based upon a certain period of time, usually an annual basis, which we're covering today, sometimes biannual or maybe even quarterly, or you're doing checkups throughout the year and it culminates into that annual review or appraisal time frame. It can either be on your anniversary date based upon the fiscal year of the organization, or maybe it's a calendar year or a combination thereof. The point is that it's a moment in time, usually where you're looking back to see how you did overall against whatever you're being rated on. It could be company core values, the actual requirements of your role, so essential and key functions, or it can be goals or management by objectives. It all depends on how it's set up in your organization. So one of the first things that you should do or be familiar with is finding out what does that process look like in your own internal organization. You don't want to start a new position or move into a new role. You've been there for a few months and you're going into review season not even knowing what you're going to be rated or judged against. So, we talked about the manager providing a performance review to the employee. You can also have what's called more of a 360, where the employee may do their own self-evaluation and then the manager will do it. It could also be 180, and 360 would pull in colleagues, sometimes customers as well, that will give you feedback, and you in turn will be given feedback to your colleagues, supervisor, etc. So those are usually the more traditional ones that you'll see. However, it can vary, which is why you need to find out what is taking place in your particular organization. You want to be prepared. And by preparation, you're going to have specific examples of how you fared against whatever measurements are set up or criteria you're being rated against. So if you're being rated against the core values of the organization, so for example, customer service focus, can you come up with specific examples of how you feel you went above and beyond in servicing your customer, whether it's an external facing customer or internal? What did it look like? When did it happen? Who was involved? Have specific examples. Don't sit back and wait for your manager to have examples for you. You want to go in with your own positive examples or outcomes. In addition to testimonials, any feedback or positives that you had throughout the year, and you really want to make sure that you're keeping notes so that you're not forgetting everything that you may have done from January to October, only to now have to scramble to come up with examples. A great idea is to set up a file or a spreadsheet of some sort so that you're tracking positive wins or goals that you've hit throughout the year so that you can share them all in that annual review. Next, what is your goal or potential outcome that you would like to see as part of the annual review process? If you felt that you did well throughout the year, are you potentially looking to be promoted, get a really nice increase for your efforts, or are you looking for job enrichment or enlargement? Or maybe there's a special training opportunity that's available if you score well. You want to be prepared to discuss what you see as a potential next step for you and your own career trajectory. Now you may say, well, Cherise, I don't know if I did that well this year, or I'm new and have only been in my role for the last 6 to 9 months and I'm still trying to get up to speed. That's okay. Identify areas where you possibly had really good strengths or really great outcomes, and what are some areas where you're still struggling. You really need to be truthful with yourself and come up with different examples or asks that you can go into your review with, so that if you think that you can do better with some additional training, be prepared to discuss that as part of your review. Don't lead with it. You want to hear what your manager has to say. Maybe you're highly critical of yourself and the manager thought you did a really great job. But either way, you want to think through or do your own self-evaluation before going into that evaluation with your manager or with your peers. What are some areas that you see in yourself that you need to improve upon? And what are some ideas that you're coming to the table with to ensure that you can get it done? Let's face it, we're all not perfect. One of the reasons why many of us dread going into an annual performance review or appraisal is because somebody's honestly being critical of the work that you did throughout the year. And a lot of us are going in and working hard every day, day in and day out, to our organizations, to our customers, to our clients. So it's easy for you to get on the defensive if what you're hearing can be in the form of criticism, especially if you don't necessarily agree with it. What you want to do is be as open as possible. And this goes back to having that self-evaluation, because maybe you've identified areas yourself that you may need some improvement upon. So, listening, being open, and asking your manager, hey, do you mind if I have a little time to reflect? Prior to going into the review, you also want to see if maybe you can get a copy of the review to read it and review it yourself, if your manager plans on going over it with you together in a supervision meeting or a review meeting. I know myself, I like to digest it, process the information that I'm reading, but even more importantly, go back if there are some things that maybe I don't agree with, or maybe I'm not even clear on, that are captured in the review. I've had time to review it and come up with my questions or potential feedback to some of the things that are in there. So once the end of the review is done, what do next steps look like? If you didn't do so well, does this mean that there are going to be additional steps that need to happen? Will your performance review period be extended? Are you going to be put on some improvement plan? Are there areas, one or two of them, that you just need to grow or get better in? And if so, what are some resources that may or may not be available for you? Can you meet with a coworker to help you cover some things? Do you need to review a couple of policies or procedures in order to improve? Do you just need time if you're relatively new to your role? What do those next steps look like, either if you did well or if you didn't do well? After the review is completed, if it's something that you had to sign off on or acknowledge, make sure that you're getting a copy and reviewing it and ensuring that it's also in line with whatever you are currently doing. So if you got reviewed on what your top job responsibilities are, making sure that making sure that you speak up if they're really not in alignment with what you are currently doing, so that for the following year or that next year, whatever you're going to be rated against has been updated going forward or prospectively. Any copy of a review that you get, make sure that you save it or send it to yourself, your personal email, so that if you're looking for a new opportunity, or maybe you're looking for promotional opportunities, you can reflect back to some of the comments or information that was collected there, whether it be testimonials, what have you. You never know if some of that key information that you've captured there could be used in another job interview, or even as part of an interview for a promotion. The truth about annual performance reviews is that they don't have to be dreadful. they can be a delight if you're going in prepared. So making sure that you know what the process looks like, especially if you're a new employee, you want to know what you're being rated against throughout the year and what the policy is as well. You also want to make sure that you're prepared in grabbing or collecting any positive testimonials, wins that you had throughout the year, positive outcomes, projects that you worked on, any anecdotal information that's going to feed into you getting a really good score or a really good rating or review as a result of it. Make sure you have that going in. Give yourself a really honest and open self-evaluation. How do you think you did? Now, you may not want to go in, especially if you feel like maybe you didn't do too well, into that annual performance review. Definitely hear what your manager has to say as well. But if there are areas that where the both of you agree upon can be improved, also you want to sit down and have time to think about, okay, well, what exactly do I think I need as far as resources to improve? Your manager may have feedback, but it would really be great if you came to the table as well and said, you know what, I think I may need to go to training again, or maybe can I be assigned a mentor or a coach to cover some of these areas? So preparing, doing self-reflection, grabbing those testimonials, and also identifying what do next steps look like for you. If you did well, are you looking for a promotion, a salary increase? If so, what are your thoughts on where you should be, or job enrichment, enlargement opportunities? The truth about annual performance reviews is that they don't have to be dreadful if you're prepared going in. I'm Cherie Stewart of Stewart HR. Like us and subscribe. Check out some of our other videos, and be sure to go to stewarthr.com to sign up for one-on-one career coaching. It's time for you to level up, be empowered. Take care.